What is up, Buffalo Fanatics? Z-Bot Rico. It's Rico and Bot on the Buffalo Fanatics pregame show on a Monday night as we get you set for a Week 6 showdown in Atlanta, Georgia, between the Buffalo Bills and the Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons. The Bills wearing their all throwback whites with the standing buffalo. The Falcons wearing their throwback unis, the blacks with the red helmet. Should be visually a great game, Rico. We're hoping it's a great game for the boys in white tonight, hoping to improve to 5-1. How are you feeling as we get ready for Monday Night Football?
You know what? I'm feeling fantastic, and I absolutely love your energy on Monday Night Football. This is the Z-Bot that I love when he comes in charged up, ready to go for this tough matchup against the Atlanta Trapkins. Could this be a trap game for these Bills? Coming off a tough loss against the Patriots, a game that we had no business losing. 3 turnovers. Josh didn't have his best game. The offense didn't have their best game. The defense didn't have their best game. The coaches, just nobody had their best. Nobody was at their best. And it shows. The results showed. Now we're going on the road to Atlanta with a team that is opportunistic. This can't be a close one, because if it's close, we can't have that. We can't have that. Especially with that run game, it's going to be something else. This is it. We got to get this win and get out of here, folks. Welcome back to a preview show. This one's a little longer. I feel like we have a lot more to talk about in this game and things that we want to see, things to anticipate. What do the Falcons bring to the table? Shout out to everybody tuned in. Smash that like as you guys are in here. We will have a special guest joining us in due time. So keep your eyes out, ready to go. Shout out to my guy Maybach Mel. What up? He's a Patriots fan and he's loving life right now.
I bet he is.
2-game win streak. He's loving life. His quarterback's doing good things. You got to give credit to those boys. So, folks, welcome to another show. But did you watch the games? Did you enjoy yourself watching the slate of games this past Sunday?
I thoroughly enjoyed myself. There's something to be said about a Buffalo Bills-less, stress-free Sunday of ball. And we're going to be treated to 2 consecutive Buffalo Bills-less Sundays. And as much as you love watching your Buffalo Bills, it is nice to watch the other games without having to worry about what the Bills are going to do or worrying about what had already happened, right? And that's a rarity. So it is nice to enjoy those rare occasions. Yesterday was that. Some really bad football, some really good football. The AFC is wide open. The Kansas City Chiefs, surprise, surprise, right back where you thought they would be. They dominate the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football. The Colts, their defense looks like there's some question marks surrounding it. Allowed Jacoby Brissett to come in for Kyler Murray, which I think there's a quarterback conversation to be had in Arizona. Yeah, that they did whatever they wanted, could have won late and didn't, but that defense has some question marks. The Chargers, it took an incredible, improbable play from Justin Herbert and Ladd McConkey to beat the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are imploding exactly like we predicted they would be. I think that we're going to see some moves made there inevitably here at some point. The Jets just put out what might have been the worst offensive performance this century, maybe other centuries prior to it. I'd have to go back and look, but they would be comparable, I would imagine. It was a wild Sunday, but you learned, I think, what we already knew, Rico, maybe even to a further extent. This AFC is wide open. And if the Buffalo Bills can improve to 5-1 tonight, with Sean McDermott being undefeated off a bye against the Carolina Panthers team that the Bills will be favored against, of course, it's a massive spot in the season. You already dropped a game you shouldn't against the Patriots. The Bills are primed right now to get 2 consecutive victories, pre-bye, post-bye. You watch yesterday. I mean, doesn't it make tonight that much more pivotal, especially with what you just mentioned a couple minutes ago? Drake May and those New England Patriots beating the Saints. If the Bills lose tonight, God forbid, they're in second place in the AFC East.
Buddy, we like the beginning of the season, we were talking about, hey, we might wrap this whole, AFC East division up by week 5 and week 6. We'll be laughing. Now we have ourselves a ball game. Somebody in the chat a couple of weeks ago was like, the NFL wouldn't want the Bills to run the table again and have 6. They're purposely trying to keep it close. Whether you believe in those conspiracies, whether you don't, I can't tell you anything about it. All I know are there are 11 players on each team, and everybody's trying to do something for their squad to win. There's just too many things happening for those things to take place. That's just me, though. But man, the AFC, like you said, is wide open, and we have to take full advantage of our schedule right now because there's a stretch that it does get a little trickier and tougher. Right now, the Chiefs are on the rise. Did you think that they were going to sit here and continue to have these bad games and lose? They played a good Lions team, and they handled them like they were middle of the pack. Now you have to question, are the Lions really who they are? I love when the NFL is like this because when you think you know, and then you don't all of a sudden. So when you think the Bills are just going to run the table, and then you're like, wait a minute, they lose to the Pats? And now they're going up against the Atlanta Falcons team where you're like, I don't know. So much things that are happening right now that it's the cliche, take one game at a time. Literally take one game at a time, one play at a time, and we'll see how that plays out. But man, I have to say this, I didn't realize how bad the quarterback play for the New York Jets was. I just looked at the box score. Justin Fields went 9 for 17 and threw for 45 yards. What?
It gets way worse when you factor in the net yardage. They were sacked 9 times. They finished the game with minus 10 passing yards.
Oh my God. I didn't realize
minus 10 passing yards. It was one of the worst games I've ever watched. And you know what's crazy is Sean Payton and the Broncos tried to match it. I mean, they really did. They tried to match it. Bo Nix had 3 pass attempts and 0 passing yards going into the fourth quarter from the third quarter. They were airing it out in the first half. Couple of things didn't go their way. That game was horrid. I mean, you feel awful if you're a Jets fan. I don't think you feel good if you're a Broncos fan. I mean, you weren't beating any other team in the NFL but the Jets yesterday morning with that performance. But yeah, Rico, the box score doesn't even do it justice. That was unreal. And Aaron Glenn, I don't know what was going on. That coaching display, especially before the half, and then at the end there, based on the way the game was going, what do I trust more? 4th and 8 with my offense the way it's played, or I trot out the field goal unit for like a 64-yarder? I'm trusting the field goal unit. And no, dude, that was bad. Rich Eisen and Kurt Warner the whole time were just trying to be as kind as possible. You could tell the whole time they just wanted to be like, dude, this is unlike anything I've ever seen.
Well, you want to know something else is unlike anything you've ever seen? Well, you've probably seen something like this before, but I'll tell you right now, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, Dalton Kincaid is out. He will not play today. He is on the inactive list. I guess that oblique, something that the thigh doc told us to watch. It's not something you can just get over and just kind of play through. If you've done something and there's time off, he said, look for something a little bit more serious if he comes out not playing. And guess what? He is out. So guess who's in? It's going to be the Jackson Haas and Dawson Knox show. Who would have thunk it would have been those two guys leading the way? And by the way, did you know that the Bills tight ends are the ones that are the most active out of the pass catchers, more so than the receivers? That's absolutely wild to me. And now you just lost your best pass catching tight end. And now you're dealing with a blocking tight end and Dawson Knox, which is a serviceable tight end. But that is what's going on nonetheless. So what will the Bills trot out on this Monday night against the Falcons? Well, folks, let me just put on share my screen right quick just to kind of give you an idea of what we're going to be dealing with here. And take a look on our inactive list. So if you guys can see the screen, no problem. Let me put that in there and let me just block off a few things that you don't. Yeah, this is fine. So here's the deal. Curtis Samuel's inactive. So inactive, Curtis Samuel, Dalton Kincaid, Chase Lund, Matt Milano, Jimmy Charlo. Who's in? Elijah Moore, Tyrell Shavers, Josh Palmer, Keon Coleman. That's what we're seeing right now. The linebacking crew. Nothing's changed. Dorian Williams is back on the field. Joe Andreessen, Shaq Thompson, and Terrell Bernard running with 4 linebackers. That's a little tight for my liking, right? One guy goes down, we're in it, right? Or are we going to be doing a lot of nickel? So hear me out, folks. Taron Johnson, Taylor Rapp, Jordan Poyer. Mr. Jordan Poyer is not on the practice squad. He's been elevated up to the defensive backfield. So you got Jordan Poyer is going to be making a showing. Cole Bishop, Tre'Davious White, Sam Franklin, Brandon Codgerton back.
Why don't you head over to that D tackle position for me?
Let me slide on over to D tackle. Jordan Phillips, Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, Deion Walker.
Don't scoot over that Ed Oliver. This is the first time we're seeing him back since week 1. That Absolutely. Is massive.
That is huge. So
Massive.
Big 91 or Big Man 91 is back on the field, and Jordan Hancock. So we got Jordan Hancock, Tre'Davious White, Cole Bishop, Jordan Poyer. What an interesting way to throw things in, right? The O-line remains the same with the same guys, Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, Reggie Gilliam. Obviously, the tight end position changes a little bit, and here we are. Your thoughts, your initial thoughts when looking at this depth chart and what's going to be taking place and who's going to be playing and all that. Talk to me. What are your thoughts?
A lot to dissect here. Let's start with Kincaid being out at blows, right? He's coming off of one of his better performances as a Buffalo Bill. I thought they didn't give him enough opportunity. 6 targets, 6 catches over 100 yards last week, and every catch was a massive play. It felt like every one of them was a 20-plus yard play. And I was looking back on it, and I was hoping, and on the rewatch that you would see more, right? Obviously you knew the outcome, but you were just hoping that there were going to be more opportunities coming the way of Dalton Kincaid, and there weren't. And now maybe that was because they knew that the injury was already in place towards the end of that game, kind of veered away from him a bit as opposed to the beginning. Like in the first drive, he had 2 massive catches. Now you don't have him this week. The lucky thing for Buffalo, you have the bye next week. So now you're looking, without him playing here, you have 2 full weeks going into Carolina to hopefully get him healthy. We'll see what that looks like. But it's a bummer because he has had the best start to his career as a Buffalo Bill thus far, or a season rather, up until this point. I mean, this is the best start to a season he's had. And last week was as good of a game as he's had. He's been getting in the end zone frequently. He's been one of Josh Allen's top targets, probably the top target up until this point. So it is a bummer, but luckily you do have trust in Dawson Knox. Jackson Hawes has been great, both in the blocking, but of course getting him involved a little bit in the pass game too. But it does change up what you want to do. The Bills have been running a lot of 3 tight end, and as you just mentioned, they've been utilizing the tight ends maybe more than anybody. So that is a blow. That tells me Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, gonna need a bit more out of you tonight, right? Joshua Palmer, maybe this is a heavier Josh Allen ground game, running the football. The Falcons aren't great against scrambling quarterbacks. They're allowing about 10 yards per scramble to quarterbacks who are on the move. And then James Cook, is this a bounce back game where he had 100 plus all-purpose yards in every game going into last week, and they really couldn't get him going the way they wanted to against New England? So maybe we look to see more out of him tonight. But I go to the defensive side of things. That's what stands out to me the most there. Jordan Poyer and Jordan Hancock. So what's the move there? Are we going to see some Jordan Hancock? What is that going to look like for the rookie? And then Jordan Poyer, what's he got left in the tank? First game back for the Bills, first time active since the Bills re-signed him. So what does that look like? Then Ed Oliver, who had maybe the best performance of his entire career in week 1 against the Ravens, really helped will that team to that victory. If he doesn't force the fumble on Derrick Henry, the Bills don't win that game. And looking back on it, how much worse would that loss have been, the way things have gone for Baltimore, if the Bills didn't pull that out? So now we see Ed Oliver, and this is big because you're going up against Bijan Robinson. You got Drake London that they're going to want to get involved. So against an inexperienced quarterback, having Ed Oliver back out there to get in the mix, not only against Penix, but obviously against Bijan Robinson, who I think is the most fearful player for all of us fans going into this game, that is huge. So how are you feeling right now on both sides of the ball? Not the best news offensively, but an interesting side of things defensively.
Well, listen, we all week, I think the last couple of weeks, I think we've been pushing, and at least for me, I've been strong on this, is who is going to elevate their game for Josh Allen to find you downfield, whether it's in a mesh concept that Brady loves to run, or who's going to be coming, getting behind the defense and just presenting themselves and making themselves available for Josh. Well, Josh is one of Josh's trusted and best athletes on the offense, and Kincaid is out. So one of his trusted guys that he believes and depends on is now not playing. So now he goes to old reliable Mr. Dawson Knox. But here's the deal. We upgraded from Dawson Knox to Kincaid. So it's not like we're flush. We're still on the same level. Those are 2 different type of tight ends. Okay, so Curtis Samuel out. We're not shocked. Mr. Elijah Moore back in. I hope to see us go a little bit more vertical with our offensive pieces. So offense, I'm going to be looking forward to that. But it's the defense that I'm more worried about when it comes to defending Drake London, defending a big arm quarterback in Michael Penix, and last but not least, one of the best backs in the game in Bijan Robinson. The guy's been I think he's doing he's hitting 130 yards a game. The Falcons are, for running for 130 yards a game. This guy's giving you just shy of 100, give or take. He's a walking 100-yard guy. And if you look at his total yardage, and I'm not just talking about running, I'm talking about catching the football and doing it. He is going to be a threat. He's 40% of the Atlanta Falcons offense. 40%. So, folks, if you're going to stop the Atlanta Falcons or at least slow them down, the focus is on number 7. Can we be disciplined enough? The amount of times I've seen Joey Bosa take an inside route when he has no business going inside, when he has to keep contained and then get to the quarterback, we can't lose focus of that. We can't lose focus of that. That's the most important. You asked me a question earlier. What are we going to see from a guy like a Jordan Poyer or a Hancock? Well, we're down to 4 linebackers. Are we going to put a safety in the box to become the aid? Do we see more Jordan Poyer at the safety position and put Taylor Rapp in more of a supportive position as a linebacker? Now, I'm no X's and O's guy, but I'm paying attention to those things, right? You got all these guys that are active, and let's see how Bobby Babbage decides to defend this team. Now they got Michael. They've got Michael. Excuse me, Michael. I was going to say they got Kyle Pitts, which is going to be a mismatch nightmare, right? Milano being out. Where is it that we try to corral and kind of bracket these guys? So if we think that it's going to be an easy way to defend, not happening. Lastly, when I'm looking at both offense side and the defense side of the ball, time of possession. I don't know if you noticed this, but we lead the league in time of possession, meaning Josh and company. We run the football, we run it well, and we do what we must to keep the ball in Josh's hands, and we run things. Guess what? Atlanta Falcons are right behind the Bills in terms of controlling the clock. So why do I bring that up? They're going to try to keep Josh Allen on the sideline by running that football. That's why it goes back to the roster. And Oliver being back, penetrating the defense, trying to get in there, trying to stop that. That is exactly what we need. We absolutely need that. And there's ways that we can. It's just that Josh has got to do stuff on the offensive side of the ball, and the Bills have got to contain, bottle that brother up, and hopefully we have a chance. Here's the deal. They got Tyler Algier as well. And Tyler Algier and that double run combo, they've seen what the Bills have been able to allow. Ravens game, Saints game, Dolphins game. Listen, if we've seen that, and I think it was, who was it? One of the analysts said it. I can't recall who said it, but they said, it's not just that was just a bad game. There's a trend here. We're allowing these guys to run. We did a good job last week, but we're allowing guys to run. And Bijan is probably going, boy, give me some of that Buffalo. Give me some of that Buffalo defense. I'm ready to roll. So we'll see how it all shakes out when I'm looking at this offense side and defense side of the ball. That's what kind of has me worried. Now I'm going to flip the question over to you, my guy. If you're worried about something, let me flip it. Are you more worried or more excited about what the offense or defense is going to do? Which side do you side on?
Well, I think you're always worried about what the defense is going to do, no matter what. I mean, really, I think that's the way it goes. You're always a bit concerned about what they're going to do against prolific players, and Bijan Robinson certainly is one. I don't think that Michael Penix is a scrub. He's not a top-tier quarterback, but he's certainly capable, and you have Drake London. Now, you know, they're missing their wide receiver, too, in this game. The Atlanta Falcons are. They're missing Darnell Mooney in this game, so that allows you to kind of target in on Drake London a little bit more, but you mentioned Kyle Pitts. Obviously, he hasn't turned out into what they were hoping he would be, but he's still a threat. So you do have a lot on that Falcons side of the ball that you have to defend, but they're an odd team. You know, they score 0 points against the Carolina Panthers a couple of weeks ago. They go up against a ravaged Washington Commanders team. They put up 34 there. So this is a team you don't really know exactly what you're going to get. And this is a Bills defense that you could argue the same thing, right? I thought last week they played pretty well. The Bills defense really did. I thought that they did enough for the Bills to win that football game. Unfortunately, the Bills offense had an off night. But that's why I'm really interested about the Bills offense in this one. You're in a dome. Josh Allen dominates in a dome. I believe I saw the stat that he is 11-2 against the spread in games where he plays in a dome. The Bills are a 3-point favorite in this one, so that just kind of gives you an idea. He's really good at running the football in a dome as well. And this is a team that just last week had one of their poor offensive performances in the last 2 calendar years. So I think that they're going to be amped up going into this game where they kind of just laid an egg and Josh Allen didn't play his best football. So I think that they're going to have their best foot in front of them tonight. And I think that also includes a game plan that I think spearheaded by James Cook. I see this game kind of going through him a bit more than it did last week, just because they were off kilter last week with the inability to get that established early. And I think that's what they're going to want to do here. So Josh Allen, I think, has a bounce back game. I think this offense does in general. I think I see him getting back to 30 points here. When you combine the performance last week and what I would imagine to be using that as motivation to come back from, plus being in a dome here, the prime time element too, not wanting to lay an egg 2 weeks in a row on the national stage, I do think we see a pretty prolific performance from the offense tonight. And I just don't know if we're going to be able to see Atlanta keep pace. I don't know if they're going to be able to score as many points as the Bills offense is going to tonight. So that's what I'm interested in, Rico. I think it's an interesting game all around. And you know, this is not a team you can overlook, certainly, because they have elements of this team that are, when clicking, pretty scary. It's just a matter of them not really having they haven't been consistent in the way they put it all together. So just a matter of what brand you're going to get tonight. And that could all come down to what you force them into. You can't allow them to get comfortable. And I think the Bills allowed the Patriots to get comfortable last week. They blew a ton of opportunities in the first half. They had a ton of penalties, and they turned the ball over 3 times. That's how you lose to a team you shouldn't. The Bills already got that loss out of the way. You can't have another, well, we should have won, but we didn't, because the way things are going right now, this is the point of the season where you have got to stack wins. Post-bye, you're going to be playing a Steelers team that's looking better by the week. You're going to be playing a Kansas City Chiefs team that seems to be getting right back to the form that they've always been in, right? You got an Eagles team later on in the season. You got more divisional games, which, you know, looks like they'll go your way, right? But you never know in division, plus another date with the Patriots as well. So these are the games you have to have. Sean McDermott with Josh Allen, 24-8, Rico, coming off of a loss, and then undefeated post-bye. So they're in 2 spots right now where they dominate. They have to do it in order to put themselves in the best possible scenario to continue to pursue the AFC East title once again. And of course, that 1 seed we all want.
Oh, the dreaded 1 seed. The 1 seed that we all want is at one point looked like this is a foregone conclusion. We're going to get it. Call it a day. We'll see you guys in the playoffs. Now you're starting to see things kind of play out in the league, right? The Indianapolis Colts don't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. They look as solid as they come. And that defense run by Mr. Sweet Lou Agaromo, I believe forgive me if I'm pronouncing his name wrong. The Bengals' old DC is now running things over in Colts, and defensively they look damn good, and offensively they're doing what they need to do. So kudos to them. I think Shane Steichen has these boys going, and I'm bringing this up because I go back to watching these Colts. These Atlanta Falcons. Their defensive coordinator was Jeff Ulbrich. Ulbrich, if you guys remember correctly, and I was doing it in my pregame on Friday. Yes, he was the coach that let the leak of the college players be called. Shadur Sanders was one of them, and a few others. Apparently, that was the case. But let's not forget, Ulbrich was the guy that was the defensive coordinator for the Jets the last 3 years. So when you talk about a guy that is familiar with Josh Allen, is familiar with this offense, familiar with what we do well, he's going to have his boys prepared. Now, what I do admire about these Atlanta Falcons is they don't give a rat's who plays. And what I mean by that is they got Xavier Watts, player of the month, defensive rookie of the month, for the month of September. And he was killing it. He's got over 22 tackles. He's got 2 interceptions. That dude is killing it. And a lot of Bills fans were like, dude, how do we miss on this? He was right there for the picking in the 3rd round. How do we not grab a safety when we know we need safeties? And when you look at what we're doing on the safety position, some folks are saying, yo, Taylor Rapp, what's up with you, bro? What's going on? Cole Bishop seems to be coming along, but that's not the point. The reason I bring this up is because these guys are playing rookies. They're playing the rookies, they're playing their second-year players, and these guys are developing. I'm not saying that we don't do that. We do. However, it's refreshing to see that the rookies that they are playing, and they're doing quite well, and Ulbrich has a thriving, young, fast defense that could present some issues for us. So we're going to be monitoring. It's going to be fun to see how Joe Brady kind of bounces back and really delivers on the offensive side, because if you and I are the same, Bot, and a lot of the fans that are viewers that are listening now, fam, offense, we look shaky. I know Bot and I were talking. He was looking at the film, and he was like, man, there was a lot of things that we could have done better, it was self-inflicting on our end, right? Falcons coming off of a bye. They've had time to prepare. Ulbrich already having, I guess, a good sense of what the Bills do. Tall task ahead. But thank goodness we got number 17, and number 17 coming off a loss doesn't take it lightly. Like you said earlier, you got a head coach that is undefeated after bye weeks, but after a loss I think there's something to the nature of like 24-6 or something.
24-8.
24-8. Don't quote me on it. There you go. 24-8. So we don't do well with going back-to-back losses, right? It's not a thing that we do often. So look for the Bills to really have a bounce back. But where I need to see it, and you said it, Bot, get James Cook involved. Get him doing what he does. He's one of the better backs in the game. Him and Bijan are one of the best backs in the game right now. They both do the same things well. Catch the ball out of the backfield, running in between the tackles. They're just that dynamic. But when you have a guy that's had an MVP under his belt versus a guy that's only got 7 starts going into his 8th start, fam, we gotta confuse the heck out of this upcoming quarterback in Penix. So we'll see. One stat that I found very interesting: Michael Penix and this Atlanta offense are 3-0 when he's completing 60% of his passes. 60% of his passes, these boys are 3-0. Do you know what we allow? This defense is allowing quarterbacks to complete. This defense is allowing quarterbacks to complete 63% of their passes. Whether some people look at the statistic as nothing, it's quite interesting. So if you let Michael Penix get rolling, and he's got a cannon for an arm, and you have that run game behind us, this is where this offense has to jump ahead of these Falcons and force them to have to throw the football. And hopefully the young quarterback, we can scheme him into giving us the football and turn the ball over. He's got 3 interceptions this year. He's got 3 touchdowns. He hasn't been in the offense. He hasn't been in the end zone often, but we'll see how that all shakes out when we face these Atlanta Falcons. So interesting to say the least, a little tidbit for those that are watching, but we have an opportunity, folks. We have an opportunity to run the table a little bit in these next few games up against the Atlanta Falcons, NFC South team, and then Carolina after that. And the Carolina Panthers look damn good. So let's not sleep on these boys, man. What's my man Pierre saying? Pierre says, yo, Bot, do me a favor. Can you check and see where the Falcons rank in points scored?
I can. So they are 27th in the NFL, 19 points per game. The only teams worse currently, the Saints, Raiders, Bengals, Titans, and Browns. So they're in the vicinity of the Giants. And actually, right now, the Giants and the Jets have better scoring offenses than that of the Atlanta Falcons. But that is a bit skewed. Not that you can rule it out, but they got shut out by the Panthers. So that's where that points per game stats coming in, because, you look at the last couple of weeks, they put up 34 on Washington. So, you do get shut out in a game where I still can't believe that went down, but you scored 34 against Washington, but that's really he's right. That's the only offensive game that they, kind of balled out. Prior to that, you have 0 points against the Panthers, 22 in a loss to in a win over the Vikings, and then 20 in a loss to the Bucks. So it's not a prolific offense by any means, but this Bills run defense, that's the thing. It's not prolific by any means either. And this is why I look at this game with kind of one eyebrow raised, because I'm wondering what the game plan is. When we looked at the Jets game, and now we know how abysmal that Jets offense is. And at the time, when we were going into that Jets game, they were coming off of that game where they scored 32 against the Steelers, remember, in week 1. And we were thinking to ourselves, Justin Fields, is New York Jets offense, is going to be a little something this year. But the one thing, besides finding out post that game that they were going to be going like this offensively, what I loved about that one was that Sean McDermott pretty much, he committed to the run game. He knew that they were going to want to run the ball with Breece Hall, and they were going to want to get mobile with Justin Fields. And he shut it down. Tons of different blitz packages in that game to shut the run blitz packages, that is. And they really were able to take that away. And they didn't respect the pass game. And because of that, they were able to get off to a hot start defensively, and they continue to compound on that. I think tonight it's a bit different, but in a way the same, where I don't know if you are going to be as willing to allow the field to open up to a Michael Penix without his second receiver. When you can double in on Drake London, I think that the way the Falcons win tonight is Bijan Robinson gets hot, and they get him involved heavily in the pass game. So I wonder, similar to the Jets game, if they try to take away the interior, maybe that opens up a couple of deep plays for Penix, but he hasn't been great moving the ball down the field like that. And this is where I wonder if they try to take away the intermediate, maybe allowing some vulnerability on the back end, but telling themselves, I don't know if I trust this Atlanta Falcons offense to be able to take advantage of the vulnerabilities we're leaving behind in pursuit of taking away what I think they might want to do. So it's an interesting matchup because I think what the Falcons do well, Rico, despite not being great on offense up until this point, right. I think what the Falcons do well is unfortunately not what the Buffalo Bills defend the best. And that is a prolific running back, getting him the ball out of the passing game as well. Those are just two things that you do look at that you have to wonder if they do establish that run game early, as you mentioned earlier. Well, that's just a disadvantage to the offense because you're in a dome where Josh Allen puts up prolific numbers. The Falcons aren't going to want to have him touch the ball more than he needs to. So that's another reason why I think they try to run it tonight, but I feel like McDermott's cognizant of that. So could the Falcons, though, flip the script, Rico? Could they come in and be like, oh, they know we're going to want to run it, so we're going to air it out, whatever. I just think that this game is more interesting than the Bills playing some team they should roll. I just think that there's a little bit more there. Not saying the Bills shouldn't win. They absolutely should.
Right.
But I just think that there's more to the Falcons than maybe some of the other teams that you don't consider to be contenders in the NFL.
It's funny that you bring this up because you were talking about like some of the best things that the Atlanta Falcons do well. We don't do well, right? They run the ball well. We don't defend the ball well, defending the run. I think it comes down to, honestly, the fundamentals of the game. And as boring as that sounds, we don't tackle well.
That's the key.
Let's become a team that tackles well. Let's put an emphasis on wrapping up and tackling well and pursuit to the football. Do that, right? The ease, it's coach used to tell us all the time, man. And any sport you play, it's the little things that lead to the big things, right? The little things that lead to the big things. So we've got to tackle, we got to pursue, right? We've got to do those things. That's number one. Shooting ourselves in the foot, fumbling in the 10, giving up the football in the red zone. We can't do those things. If we hold on to the football like we're supposed to, we should be able to do what we do best. We score very well, but when we turn the ball over, we still put up 20 points, which is absolutely wild to me. So look for this team to bounce back and put an emphasis on not giving the football up, but actually doing the small things well, and that's tackling. By the way, my man Pierre Kingpin says, long-time listener, first-time caller, says, my question is, what pressure do the Bills put on this Falcons team? And let's try to answer my man, long-time listener over here. Pressure that the Bills can put on this team, offensively and defensively. Which, if you were to choose, what would you choose if you wanted to? And I'll pick the other, whatever you don't pick.
I think putting pressure on the Falcons defense would be. I think Josh Allen's mobility in this game is going to be a factor because I think that the Falcons, they do have a good pass rush, but of course the Bills have one of the best offensive lines. So I think that when you look at that, if they do end up winning on certain downs, that pass rush, I just think Allen's ability to get out of the pocket and move, he's been running it way more than usual to start a season here. They've been allowing him to run the football. I mean, the last couple of weeks he's been running it. And the Falcons, like I mentioned earlier, they're not great at defending that. Like when a play breaks down and a quarterback runs it, they're allowing just under 10 yards per attempt there. And Allen's been running it about 20% of the time he drops back, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. It's like 1 in every 5 dropbacks. Allen's kind of getting on the move there. So I think if Allen successfully is able to run the football tonight, especially in plays where there's not something there, and that's the key. Because like I mentioned earlier, the way you win these games, if you're the Bills, is by doing the exact opposite of what you did last week. That's how you lose. You have multiple penalties, multiple turnovers, and you have multiple chances in the first half go by the wayside. The Falcons are the least penalized team in the NFL. So if you're going to be flag happy tonight, that's going to be disadvantage Buffalo to an even further degree than maybe last week because they were calling it both sides, right? The Patriots had a ton of penalties on them as well. So in this game, this is the benefit to Buffalo. Do I anticipate another 100 yards in penalties and 3 turnovers? No. And I think if you cut out maybe even one of those turnovers last week, especially the interception from Allen really was the dagger because they were guaranteed points on that drive. And then, of course, the Patriots went down the field and scored themselves. So I guess maybe the best way to answer this would the pressure to put on them would be to put the pressure on them by playing clean football. I think you alleviate the pressure for inferior opponents by giving them ample opportunity. And you give them ample opportunity by turning the ball over and putting yourself behind the sticks. Those are essentially turnovers. If you get a first down and there's a holding or whatever, those are massive swings in a game. The pressure goes on Atlanta if the Bills are playing clean football, not allowing them easy outs to alleviate that pressure.
That great and well said. And this is where I'm going to jump in and take the opposite. How do the Bills put the pressure on the Falcons defense? Now I'm going to go on the offense side of the ball. Defensively, they're not good at defending in the red zone. They're not good, right? So defensively, They're 25th in the league right now in defending in the red zone, allowing guys to actually do well 66% of the time. So listen, folks, the Bills, on the other hand, we're decent in the red zone. We're not horrible, but we're not fantastic like we used to be. We've had some moments where we settle for field goals before we take touchdowns, but I think coming back from a loss to the Pats in the fashion that we lost and taking advantage of moving the football and not giving it away in the red zone, bro, we are going to punish them in the red zone. That's where we put the pressure on the Atlanta Falcons, by getting in the red zone and not settling for field goals. Do not settle for field goals and have this game go back and forth. Make these guys one-dimensional. By one-dimensional, they have to put the ball in the air, right? And they do well by being balanced, by, like I said, having time of possession. But we can take full advantage of that by scoring, being efficient, getting on the board, and putting the pressure back on their offense. If we're going to put pressure on somebody, wouldn't you want to put it back on Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator, with Penix as their quarterback, which is going into his 8th start? Bro, put the pressure on these guys and allow the Bills defense to do what they do. Hopefully, that's where we bind them. That's where we try to get them into that spot. Great question by the first time caller, long time listener, my guy Pierre. Now, before we get into other topics that we do want to jump into and get some more questions, we got some super chats coming in. GQ Bob comes in and says, yo, we get back on track tonight, right? Going into the bye. Wouldn't that be nice, right? Get a win tonight, get the bye, come back against the Panthers, and then we get on a roll again. So, GQ Bob, I'm with you, brother. I think we're all with you on this one. What's our guy, Led Robster? My money, Mitch. What's Mitch saying?
Mitch says, I'm not feeling good about this one, boys. And I even felt this way before we laid an egg against the Patriots. Bijan could feast, and Penix could have a day with our corners. Also, Bot, congrats on losing Franklin. Go Bills. Not saying the second one, as always, Mitch. Hit the horn from my main man, the Lead Roster. James Franklin out as the head coach of Penn State after losing back-to-back games in which the Penn State Nittany Lions were 20-plus point favorites. It hadn't happened in, I think, 3 or 4 decades. So he's out. Guess who's on the head coach candidate list? The betting odds, Rico, for Penn State.
Who is it?
A certain offensive coordinator in Orchard Park, New York. Joe Brady. Joe Brady is on the radar. Apparently,
a collegiate game.
Hey, a head coach of a Power 5 team like that. It's a whole different game, though, right? I mean, you got recruiting is the name of the game. So I don't know. I would question it. It's interesting, but his name is on there, which I found to be something. Now you have Callahan fired by the Titans today. So you already have a head coach job opened up. Got a feeling there'll be an opening in Miami at some point around the corner here, potentially Cleveland as well. So we're just in the beginning of things here right now.
We certainly are. I don't want to go too far away from the whole Callahan and Joe Brady thing. I'm going to come back to that. Our guy, GQ Bob, thank you for that super chat. GQ says, yo, this always happens, fans. When our players start getting on a roll, they get hurt. Coleman last year, Ed Oliver this year, now Kincaid. I mean, it's the nature of the business that sucks in the NFL, especially with these injuries that come, but better now than late into the season where we really need these guys to do that extra playoff push, right? So those are the things that we want. So, I mean, we don't want any injuries, but then when they do happen, they do happen. But appreciate that super chat, GQ. But I got to bring it back to you, my man. So Mina Kimes was online today. Oh, boy. She goes, hey, and I'm paraphrasing here. I don't have it with me, but she goes, pretty much insinuating that since the Titans let go of Callahan, here comes Joe Brady. And to her amazement, she was actually amazed as what the comment section was. And you would think people would be like, no, don't leave our guy alone. But it was a mixed bag of, dude, you could have him. What are we gonna cry about it? Get out of here. Take Joe Brady. Some folks are like, no, we need him. Keep him in Buffalo. When you saw that, what were your initial thoughts when you saw that comment? Now, before you answer that question, somebody saw somebody say Callahan, on the other hand, how the heck did he even get a head coaching job? This guy went from being an assistant to being a offensive coordinator under Joe Burrow. And we all know Joe Burrow's nice, and then got a head coaching job with the Titans. If you want to look at Joe Brady's had success with Josh Allen being his quarterback. Be careful what y'all wish for. But your thoughts on this Joe Brady conversation and having it be a mixed bag of yay and you can have him. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm certainly not shocked about his name being linked to a job. This is the first firing of the season thus far. We will see several more inevitably, and we knew this was going to be the case. We thought it might even be the case last year where he was looking around. I don't know if we all thought he was going to leave last year, but this year it felt a bit more inevitable and very well could be. Now, this idea of being upset about him leaving or not being upset, man. You know, if the Bills would have beaten the Patriots last week 32-20, you wouldn't have saw those comments. It's amazing what a week can do. The Bills are averaging 30 points per game. I mean, how quickly we forget what this offense looked like under Ken Dorsey. Joe Brady came in, simplified things, and allowed this offense to unlock the run game in a way they weren't capable of doing under Ken Dorsey. So, you know, the grass isn't always greener. It really isn't. And I don't know what would have happened up until this point to allow fans to want to open the door for Joe Brady and kindly walk him out to his car, you know, and gather his things. I don't, that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I mean, this happens all the time though, with everything, you know, if the Bills lose again to the Chiefs in the playoffs, it'll of course be the McDermott's got to go conversation. And then, you know, if the Bills don't score 30 points, it's well, to hell with Joe Brady, even though go back and watch that game. The Bills fumble it twice. Josh Allen throws an egregious interception in the red zone and they still scored 20 points. I mean, right there, if they're in the red zone and Allen simply just throws that ball away, it's 3 points. And I think that they might win that football game. I really do. That play was just so critical, so massive. People are upset with Joe Brady because the Bills they don't look like Tampa Bay. You know, if you watch Tampa Bay right now, and I listen, I understand Tampa Bay might be the funnest watch in the NFL right now. I love watching Baker Mayfield, who is the MVP of the NFL right now going into week 7. He is an incredibly fun watch. He always has been. I mean, Baker's always been fun to watch, whether they were winning or not, all the way back to his Oklahoma days. But if you watch Tampa Bay, they unleash that football. They air it out. And the Bills used to do that. You know, but the thing of it is the Bills haven't stopped doing that and then averaged 21 points per game. They scored 20 last week and they're still averaging over 30 points per game. They're just doing it in a more efficient way, in a way that's more conducive to not turning it over and not making mistakes. That's why last week was such an outlier. The amount of mistakes the Bills made, it was so mind-blowing because they haven't done that in what feels like forever. So, you know, it was bad timing, of course, because you're coming off of that game, Rico, and now everybody wants to throw blame on Joe Brady for it. You go back and watch, though, there's only 1 or 2 moments where I'm like, Joe Brady, what are you doing? It's the reverse to Dawson Knox, and in no planet does that make sense to me. And then I just didn't love that flea flicker when they ran it, even though it got completed. I mean, I just didn't love that. Other than that, though, I don't really know what Joe Brady has done to get in the way of this team's success. That makes no sense. And also, who's the easy replacement that you're filling him in with? I mean, I understand there's an idea of him leaving, but celebrating that idea, that doesn't register with me at all.
All right. Well, let me put this into put this in perspective. I want to say perspective. I should ask you. I should put you on the spot a little bit. And this goes for the chat right now. So we praise Joe Brady and we love Joe Brady and we're putting up 30 points a game, but yet we still are like, yo, how are our quarterbacks, our receivers not excelling the way they need to excel? We're running the ball well. Don't get me wrong. It's fantastic. And I'll take that. But what's up with the receivers? We have so much money in this receiver room and you have Bills fans clamoring for more receivers. Okay. So what about the offensive coordinator? Why is he not scheming us to get open? Right. We're looking at, I don't see anything special out there in other than Egbuka with the Baker Mayfield led Bucks, but these guys are getting vertical and they're pushing the ball up. So what is it about Joe Brady that can't get there? Are we not getting the most out of our receivers? So, like, what do you need to see from Joe Brady? That's the question that I have for most folks. And I'll tell you right now, find a way to get a little vertical. Like right now, they know what we're doing. But I tried to talk myself out of it and saying, well, there's playing a lot of, cover 2, defenses in the league. It's gone from 40% to 60%. So there's a lot more cover 2, shell high, all that. Okay, great. So we're just going to just shallow and just play within 10 to 15 yards, and that's what it is. If that's what it is, cool. But like, where's that vertical threat? Where do we stretch that defense? So this is where I need to see the receivers elevate their game, but Joe Brady scheme them into something that we can continue. Rico, we scored 30 points a game. I understand that. But when we have two lockdown corners that take away your outside receivers, okay, so this is where the offensive coordinator and these receivers have to find ways to scheme your receivers open, but then individual play has to happen from these receivers. So I need to see guys step up, which then brings me to my next segment and question to you is, offensively at the receiver position, who are you looking forward to break out, if you will? I use that very loosely, the term breakout. If you're looking at your Josh Palmers, your Keon Coleman's, your Khalil Shakir's, obviously Kincaid being out, so we already know that. James Cook in the past game, Shavers. Is there anybody that you need to see? I need to see something from you. Who stands out for you?
Well, back to your previous point, I have to respectfully disagree. I don't understand this idea of needing to air the ball out for the sake of doing it. You just poo-pooed the idea. Well, Rico, they're scoring 30 points. Then you hit him with a but.
Absolutely.
But I mean, 30.
We got locked down last week. That's the but. So
see, I don't know. I don't think that they did get locked down last week. I thought that you had Keon Coleman fumble the ball on your own 10. You had Keon Coleman fumble the ball on your own 10. And you had Josh Allen throw it into double coverage when he had a wide open running lane or for an easy first down. Or he had a dump off to James Cook. If they score a touchdown on that drive, they likely win the game, and they're 3 points shy of 30 points. So I just don't look at it. People are frustrated because it's a boring watch. The Bills are boring. You know who was boring last year? The Chiefs, who went 15-2. Well, they got murdered in the Super Bowl. Yeah, wouldn't you love to just go to a Super Bowl? You know who's boring as hell to watch? Up until this point was the Philadelphia Eagles, who last year dominated in the Super Bowl. They play a lot of boring-ass football, right? Unfortunately, boring football usually means you're doing the little things to win the game and you're not exploding all over the field for these highlight reel plays. Like, you know who's the opposite of boring? Jameis Winston. That guy's must-see TV, but it's not conducive to winning football games, right? Brett Favre was probably the best of both worlds here back in the day, where it was always electric, but you were always fearful that Brett Favre was going to make a play that would cost the team. And you go back to the Vikings being in the NFC Championship against the Saints, and he throws an unbelievably errant throw in the middle of the field when they're in field goal range to turn it over and allow the Saints to win that game going into overtime. So what Josh Allen has done with the help of Joe Brady and the help of this run game and offensive line is eliminate the mistakes. And that's why last week it was so polarizing. But the ability to score 30 points per game while doing it in a way that takes away the plays that are more likely to result in negative outcomes. This is why I think it's been so successful for Buffalo. I don't need to see them air it out just for the sake of doing it. Now, to your point, though, if you get into a setting where you can't run the ball at all and you can't get the intermediate game going, well, then yes. But I don't think we've gotten to that point yet. Maybe you could argue last week was that, but I just don't think it was. You turned the ball over 3 times. I don't think that has a lot to do with play calling. I think it has a lot more to do with the execution, especially the interception. So I'm going to need to see several more games of this team being incapable of doing anything offensively before I start to question what they're doing offensively.
All right. I like that. So what you're saying, what I gathered is there's nothing wrong. It was just an anomaly last week because we turned the ball over. They kind of took away our receivers. This is not going to happen again. But you know what? This is a copycat league. What I saw last week, I'm going to try to do that to the Bills. Right now, I'm looking at the running back room. They're probably looking at the defense saying, yo, these boys look sweet. I saw what the Ravens were able to do. I saw what the Dolphins were able to do, and I saw what the Saints were able to do. And we have 2 big-time backs in this backfield with a decent O-line. Oh, by the way, AJ Terrell is a damn good corner. So if I do what the Patriots did and have success running the football, which we do in this league, that presents a problem to me. Right. So now if they take away the run, are we just this is where I have problems, because now you've taken the little run or try to or slow it down a little bit. And now you have receivers that aren't getting the separation or lack thereof. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I need one of them to step up. And I think that has to be Khalil Shakir, the guy that you paid, the guy that you said, this is a future of my team. but I need more from Khalil. And this is where Joe Brady has to come in and scheme these guys open. We can't just do whiteboard stuff, right? Where you run this route and you see if you get open. Bro, somebody needs to step up a little bit more because this league is so copycat. And once they see something or they smell blood, if you will, they'll continue that trend. So luckily, this is a well-coached team. And hopefully around this end, they've adjusted enough and correct their errors. This is where this is going to be an interesting game because you have a team that's coming off of a bye that's seen a lot. They've had 2 weeks to prepare. But does that even mean sometimes? Because now I'm questioning because does that even mean anything? Because we had 2 weeks to prepare and we didn't look good against the Patriots. So hopefully what I'm looking for is one of these guys stepping up and really showing Josh that I got your back. I need that to happen. But that takes Joe Brady to help that and Josh to be on his cue. That is what I'm hoping to see. So we'll see. Offensively, we're going to do what we need to do. Defensively, we got to do what we do. But it's a challenge, man. Monday night, prime time. And everybody's looking to make a name for themselves. Josh and this crew have done this before, and we need to really silence these guys that think they can come in and duplicate what the Patriots did. So hopefully it starts tonight. Hopefully,
if they duplicate what the Patriots did, then that's a problem because that would mean that the Bills had multiple turnovers again this evening. And then if that's the case, well, then we need to start having a conversation because that's been their biggest. That's been their biggest asset, not turning it over and not getting sacked. I mean, that's really what has been working so well under Joe Brady. The best thing Joe Brady has done for this team post Ken Dorsey was the simplification of everything. That's what always stood out to me. It always felt with Ken Dorsey, everything was forced and everything was difficult. And then Joe Brady took over and everything felt a lot more simplified and a lot easier. And there was a whole lot of not fixing what was broken. And I did feel like last week there was a little bit of fixing what wasn't broken. I did feel that way. Like, for instance, and this goes back to the point you're making about the airing it out. Don't forget, last week, the Bills tried to do that. They ran 2 shot plays to Keon Coleman on consecutive plays at the 50-yard line and had to punt because of it. They ran a fade down the right sideline, wasn't there. Did the exact same thing the next play on the left sideline, wasn't there, and the Bills had to punt. If they just got 7 or 8 yards, they could have been in Prater range to kick a field goal there. The Bills got into New England territory on Sunday night last week in the first half 3 times, and they came away with 3 points. One of those drives was was that right there that I'm referring to. Yep. And that to me looks a lot like what people want this team to do. Bomb it down the field and let somebody make a play. The problem is I just don't think that that's what this team is anymore. And you saw that on 2. No, I don't think so. I really don't. Okay. I think this team is a run first team with one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen manning the ship. That's what I think that this team is. They're no longer, hey, Gabe Davis down there somewhere, Stephon Diggs down there somewhere, close my eyes and let it rip. This team is 12, 13, 14 plays. You mentioned earlier, who leads the league in time of possession? Buffalo. Well, there's no secret as to why, because the offense that they run is exactly correlated to stacking time of possession. So I think that we got it. Once again, tonight we watch. If it's another stinker, maybe we can start having different conversations here. But I have the games going into last week where no one was talking about the offensive issues, and it was simply all the defense. And now all of a sudden, Josh Allen throws 1 interception, and everybody wants Joe Brady to go take the Tennessee job. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, we'll see how it all shakes out in the end. I mean, he is deserving. I mean, how could you deny what he's been able to do with this offense? But you also can't deny who his quarterback is. And some might say it doesn't matter who the coach becomes, Josh is going to do what Josh does. So we'll see how that all shakes out in the end. But what a game that's going to be coming up this tonight. I think it's a 7:15 start, if I'm correct. So should be fun. Folks in the chat, give me your score predictions. Give me your bold predictions. Hashtag bold prediction. Hashtag hot take. What are your hot takes? Bot and I are going to share some of our hot takes coming into this game, a bold take, if you will, and our score predictions. Bot, hot take. Do you have a hot take for this game? Or choose one, hot take or bold take or bold prediction that you anticipate that could happen in this game. Take your pick.
Okay, so I got Allen with over 50 rushing yards. I think we see some movement from Allen tonight.
Okay.
So I'm going to take him over 50 rushing yards. I don't think he throws an interception tonight. So maybe that's another bold take. And then I think we see James Cook back to over 100 all-purpose yards again. So I think if all three of those things happen, the Bills get to 30 points again. The Bills win this football game. So my bold take, I guess, in a nutshell, is the Bills offense looks a hell of a lot cleaner than they did last week, and that results in a W tonight.
Womp, womp. That's your bold take. The Bills look cleaner, and we should get the W.
What do you want me to say? Somebody's going to come streaking out on the field at the 5-minute mark of the second quarter? All right, let me see. Let me think of something. You go first. You go first.
I tried to get the safe way out. Get out of here with that, man. Give me some bold, man.
You go first.
All right, bold take. Here's a bold take. I think one of these receivers answers the call. They answer the call, and I can turn this into a hot take, but I'll make this a bold take. I think Elijah Moore becomes a little bit more involved in this offense. They take advantage of his speed, which we haven't been able to take advantage of. So I say your two leading receivers will be Elijah Moore and Khalil Shakir coming in. And I say Elijah Moore gets you over 60 receptions, 60 yards receiving, and is one of our leading receivers today. Bold take. A bold take is this defense absolutely shows up and they shut down this Atlanta Falcons. I'm talking about 0 points, another shutout. Very unlikely to happen because there's no way the Atlanta Falcons put up no points in 2 games this year. So I say that we keep these guys. I'll keep these guys at 7 points. The Bills defense comes in and just really comes in and emphasizes that, yo, we ain't to play with. Don't look at last game as something that this is the norm. We're going to emphasize on shutting down this run. Michael Penix is going to have to beat us, and he's going to give us that football up. 7 points. The Falcons do not put any more than 7 points. Bold. Yes, I know. Now, that's what I'm talking about.
That
bold.
definitely is bold. That definitely is bold.
It is bold. You think
it's going to be a blowout tonight then?
I don't necessarily think it's going to be a blowout. I just don't think. I think the defense it's more so the defense is going to make a statement, right? They need to make a statement. There's been a lot of chatter about, the safety room's not that great. Oh, Trey White, look, he's cooked. Benford, where's the money you've been making? There's been a lot of noise. Look at the injury-prone Milano's out. Shaq Thompson. Listen, I'm thinking bold. This is bold, folks. That's what I'm saying is going to happen. It's bold. 7 points. No more than that. You don't got to go as bold as that, though.
No, here's what I'll give you. Last 2 weeks that Penix has played, he's had an interception in at least both games, one at least in both games. Give me somebody's going to make an interception tonight that you won't expect, and I think it's going to be one of these 3 players.
Okay.
Actually, I'll just narrow it down.
It's a tough one.
Either Jordan Hancock or Jordan Poyer. One of the Jordans makes an interception tonight.
Oh, that's bold. See, I like that. That's bold.
Filling in for DeMar Hamlin. I think one of those boys makes a pick tonight. And my third pick would be, yes, I was going to go with Trey as well. One of those 3. One of the guys who haven't had one yet this year. That's going to be my take. One of these 3 guys.
It's an interception or it's a pick 6?
Interception.
We
had Cole Bishop get his first pick of the year not that long ago, right? When was it?
Right.
Against the Saints? No. Against the Dolphins.
It was it was against the Saints.
It was the Saints. It was the Saints.
Yeah. The Saints where you took that one-hander.
Yeah. That's right. Yes. So I think we get somebody again tonight with their first INT of the year.
I like it. I kind of like that. All right. When you're looking at the Atlanta Falcons, is there something that you're? I'm not looking forward to seeing anything from that team. Like, is there something that scares you about this team, or let's not use the word scare, that you're aware of, other than the obvious Bijan Robinson? It's something that where you're like, man, the Bills need to pay attention to this, whether it's offensively or defensively. What do you see?
Well, to me, it's not Bijan Robinson in the run game, but it's Bijan Robinson in the short passing game. That's, to me, is the big key.
I like that.
Whether it's schemed up or not, that to me is so crucial because the Bills have been not good at stopping the intermediate pass game to the backfield. I think if I'm Atlanta tonight, I have at least 4 or 5 screen plays that are already pre-baked into my game plan because I think 1, the Bills struggle with it, and 2, you got the personnel to be able to carry it out. That's what scares me. We know Bijan can run, but to me, it goes another level deeper if you get him involved heavily in the pass game. So that's what would be one element that might scare me here tonight.
I think I'm with you on that one. I think I'm with you. And I'm looking at this overall game because we got Pierre coming up shortly with his live show, so you guys will get ready for him. Score prediction wise, I'll get that into just a moment, but like I think what I really need to see from this team overall, because right now there are too many teams that have lost that have no business losing. The league is very kind of like still tight. There's nobody really running away with anything, unless you look at the Colts potentially. But the Bills need to reestablish themselves as a top team in this game and not. Oh, that's two games in a row that they've looked a little sloppy, or 3 games in a row that look. I need this to be put to bed against a half decent team. This is not a horrible team. It's not a bad. It's not an amazing team. It's just a middle tier team that can surprise a lot of people. I want the Bills, and this is the message that I want this Bills to send to the league: is shut it all down. Yo, that was a bad game last week. We had 3 turnovers. It ain't going to happen again. Shut it all down. Where we have an overall great game. That's what I want to see. Defensively, special teams, offensively, we reestablish ourselves as top dog in this team. Because if we look sluggish a little bit, then you're gonna have conversations like, "Yo, this team is not as who we thought they were." Right? They're gonna Dennis Green us. I don't want to be Dennis Greened. Right? They thought who they thought they were. I don't want to hear that. I want us to establish ourselves as, hey, we are still the Buffalo Bills. We are still looking to try to get that number 1 seed. That game was a division game against the Patriots. I mean, they're going to be good this year, but let's not get anything confused. We still here. We're going to take things going. So we'll see how this all shakes out in the end. By the way, we got a bold take coming in. Rico's going to see a big play, Shavers 50-yard plus TD.
Now that I'd love.
I would love to see something like that. I would absolutely love it. So get me your hashtag bold take. Give us your bold take. Hashtag hot take. If you have a hot take, let us know what your hot takes are, and let us know what your score predictions are before we get out of here and allow Pierre to jump in, because it's 7:40. I think is the game at 8 or 8:15 or
7:15. 7:15 our time. So while we're in the process of putting our money where our mouth is, why don't we really put it where it is? Over on Sleeper, we've already had a couple of points tonight. I think we've made that could help us make our picks here, Rico. I've already told you I like Josh Allen rushing tonight. He's currently at more or less 34.5. That's going to be my first pick. Josh Allen more than 34.5 rush yards. What do you look for on here?
See, my I don't got my glasses, so I can't really see what's going on. So
let's take a look at. We talked about Bijan in the pass game. Let's see what that's looking like. Bijan Robinson more or less.
They're going to say like 35.5. It's at 35.5.
32.5.
32.5. Okay.
What do you think?
I say give me the more. He's 40% of that offense. So they're going to get him involved in everything they got. So
I'm going to agree with you. More on that for sure.
We're on the same page.
Let's see here. We have, what do you think about Michael Penix's passing line? It's at 223.5. Seems a little high to me.
They're saying that he's going to be pressed to pass all game long. Maybe the Bills.
Yeah, like what's Bijan's rushing? Bijan's rushing is only 74.5. Him and James Cook have the same exact rushing line in this game. Same
74.5. Interesting.
Both of them. Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think Penix is going for less than that number. I mean, if you think that Atlanta is scoring 7 points, and that's got to be where you're at.
Well, that was a bold take. That's just a bold take. That's something that I boldly would like to happen. Realistically, that's why it's called the bold take, folks. Now, realistically, I think it's going to be a lot closer than people anticipate. I mean, Vegas has it, what, 3 points?
So you're telling me bold take, Bills shut the Atlanta down. Reality, this game's going to be like this. That's what you're telling me.
Can I not do that? Can I not have that?
That's not a bold take. That's just a what I'd love to see happen take. I'd love to see the Bills win the Super Bowl.
Is that bold take a hot take then? Is that a hot take? Because hot takes are things like...
A hot take is something that you think's out of the ordinary, that you have conviction behind, that you think's going to happen.
That is going to happen.
Yeah.
And your bold take is just something that's bold. You know what?
I think they're the same thing. I think you could argue they're the same thing.
Same thing?
I think so. I don't know.
Because it would be very bold for the Bills to come in. I guess it's a want that I have. I have a want that the Bills... I mean, shoot. I think we all have wants, right?
I'll tell you what. I got several. I got a lot of wants.
Now you got me all effed up because I'm like, the bold take, I really think it's going to be closer than I think, but I'd love for the Bills to really make a statement and really close it out. So I guess I got to stand on my conviction and say, you know what, I gotta stick to it. If I say 7 points, then the Bills are gonna have to hold to it, and I gotta stick to my bold take. So,
well, no, if you were thinking of it a different way, then it's different. If you were thinking of it a different way,
yeah, but you open my eyes a little bit. So it's if you gotta have conviction in your bold take. You can't just shy away from it. My man said, Jason says, yo, Rico, just say it. Your bold take is that Buffalo loses. Heck no.
Hell no.
No.
Come on, Jason. That's a foolish take.
Yeah, it's a foolish take. Bills look like dog shit last week. Can't see it tonight. You're foolish, Z-Bot. What's he saying? What do you think?
I don't even know what that means. Bills looked like dog shit last week. Can't see it tonight. You're foolish, Z-Bot. What did I say? What did I say? What?
Yo, Z-Bot's like 50 Cent. What do I got to do with it, man?
Yeah, what did I say? I think they're winning tonight. Damn. All right, let's go. Come on, what are we doing here? Talk about it. I don't know. I'm feeling it with Penix. I'm feeling less on the passing yards here. 223.5. And then who's getting in the end zone? Who's getting in the end zone? Is James Cook getting in the end zone tonight?
I mean, he's got to, right? They're not great. They're not great in the red zone. So you know what? Yes. Give me James Cook in the end zone. For sure.
And there it is. There's our sleeper slip right here. We got J.A. more than 34.5 rushing yards. We got Bijan more than 32.5 receiving yards. Penix less than 223.5 pass yards. And we got James Cook getting in the end zone. That's good for a multiplier. Ooh, what do we got here? 6.6. So not bad if you want to tell that, or of course, create your own. Link in the description below. For Sleeper, the fastest organically growing real money and fantasy sports platform on the web. And use the promo code on your screen to take full advantage. The promo code is BF25. That'll get you a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently available in over 25 states. And while you're checking it out, here's the even better thing. Of course, use that promo code because it is a really good, it is a good promo. But what's even better? How about a free $20 entry? This is awesome. Sleeper's running this right now for a limited time. You don't even need to make a deposit. You can literally just download Sleeper. It's in the link in the description. Download it, create an account. You're going to have a free $20. So they're just going to give you $20. You can make a slip tonight like Rico and I just did. Let it play out and boom, see what happens. So it's completely free, $20 entry. Once again, check out Sleeper. I did that, by the way. I know I keep saying it, but I can't forget it. I did that when I was out in LA a couple weeks ago, and I nailed it, baby. I nailed it. So
dude, that was horrible. That pick that I think, what was it, the Thursday night game, buddy? Trash, terrible.
Oh yeah. Tell you, it's a dog eat dog town out there, man. Sometimes you're the fire hydrant, sometimes you're the dog, Rico. Tonight, I'm hoping the Buffalo Bills are the dog. What's that outcome looking like tonight?
Oh boy. Well, I'll tell you this. I think there's going to be some jitters at the beginning. I think both teams are going to start off slow, and then somebody's just going to take off, and then the Bills end up kind of finding themselves again, and then just reminding folks who they are. I think this is going to be one of those good games. It'll take a while before we get going, and then I think the Bills obviously come away with a win. We go to 5 wins, and the league starts talking about the Bills as being a contender again, and that's how it should always be. Instead of them saying, "Oh boy, the Bills are 4-2. Oh boy, they're letting the Chiefs catch up to them." Speaking of the Chiefs, what are your thoughts on these Chiefs? Are they rising? Is this a team that we should be like, "Oh shit, we let these guys get back into it"?
100%. Yeah, you're watching the Chargers implode. I mean, it's death, taxes, and what we're watching right now, right? Because you have the Chargers start 3-0. Ooh, is Harbaugh, Herbert, this is the year? Oh, they're a play away from losing 3 straight on the wrong end of the Miami Dolphins, who are this close away to that franchise. I don't even know at this point, man. I mean, are you hearing the stuff coming out of there and what's going on over there? It is not good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I saw it coming 100 miles away. But with all that in mind, the Chargers were an unreal Ladd McConkey Herbert throw away from losing to that team on Sunday afternoon. So here you have the Chargers going backwards. They're riddled with injuries on the offensive line. And, of course, here are the Chiefs, right? Massive wins, right? And they blew that Jacksonville game. So you're thinking, are they down in the dumps again? But last night felt like a statement. They're getting Rashee Rice back. And I just don't think we have ever been given a legitimate reason to doubt this team. And I think last night you saw it. I mean, they really dominated Detroit on both sides of the ball. So
listen, man, there's a lot going on in this league. And I'll tell you this much. If you're looking at if the playoffs were to start today, You got the Colts, Steelers, Bills, Chargers.
Man,
right?
Bills would play New England again if the season ended today, Rico.
Look at that. Look at that.
Oh,
then,
no, sorry. They'd play Denver again.
Well, it doesn't give us the playoff watch just yet. But the point is this: Jacksonville's looking pretty damn good. I'll tell you right now, Jacksonville, although they lost that game, man, they're a decent little team. They got the Denver Broncos. That's always gonna be a tough, pesky team. And then the freaking New England Patriots right now in the 7th spot. And you got the freaking Kansas City Chiefs right on everybody's heels, right? 3-3. Who would have thought they were 3-3? But they're very much capable of going on a run. We thought the Lions were gonna give them a run, but that didn't look too much. You got Deion, was it Branch getting ejected at the end of the game or suspended? He's suspended for one game, by the way. That came out. Juju Smith-Schuster got tossed around. I mean, listen, man, what a mess. These Chiefs.
Well, what's
man,
a mess
Chiefs,
is, dude, look at your screen. Half of the AFC season is already completely over. Like, just over.
Cincy 2-4. The Vegas Raiders. I don't know what's going on with these guys, but 2-4. Then, oh boy.
I mean, it's just bad.
Look at that. Look at that. I mean, listen, is the NFC any better?
So no, right now not really. Like, really, not really. No.
Tampa 5-1, Green Bay 3-1, San Fran losing injuries after injuries after. These guys are just most unlucky. I had a good friend of mine that was over. We were watching the San Francisco game yesterday, and these guys are dropping like flies. Fred Werner gone. The kicker gets stepped on right in the middle of a game, just done. Like, you got to be kidding me. Philly 4-2, Seattle 4-2. Seattle's looking pretty good.
Seattle is, I think Seattle and Tampa right now in the NFC.
Right? Detroit 4-2. You got the Rams at 4-2, and then Falcons. Excuse me. You got the Vikings, Commanders, Carolina. Look at 3-3. The Carolina got 2 back-to-back 200-yard rusher and Rico Dowdle. What?
I think the basement of the NFC, Rico, is far superior to that of the basement of the AFC right now.
100%. Like right now, you put the New York Giants up against the freaking, I don't know, Houston Texans. I think they might be able to take to the Houston Texans.
You have the Saints, the worst team in the NFC. I think the Saints beat the Jets by a touchdown if they play this week. And the Jets play the Panthers this week. So you'll get a good idea of how much worse the lower end of the AFC is, I think, to the
Don't
NFC.
sleep on the Panthers. The Panthers are 3-3.
Yeah.
They're 3-3, man. So, you know what? It does give us a little bit of a playoff action. So this is what it looks like, folks. There it is. There's your 4, and then that's what it's going to look like. So, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, look at this. This is awful. The Miami Dolphins, the New York Jets. I mean, listen, Coach Aaron Glenn, they're talking about, fire that guy.
Does it really matter what you do over there right now? I don't even get that idea. Like, what does it matter? You've fired 10 other coaches. Nothing's changed. Nothing.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just bad.
It is bad.
It's just bad. My man says, man, I really want the Bills to play a complete game on both sides of the ball. Just don't trust the team to do that. I guess just win the game, figure it out during the bye week. I think we're gonna come back and really show what we're supposed to be doing. I think that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. But anyway, did you have a score prediction, by the way? You got something?
Yeah, give me 33-20 Buffalo tonight. I think it'll feel closer than that. I think they get a late one to separate it by 2 scores there. That's what I'm thinking. 33-20, yeah.
I really do like that score. See, now you got me effed up because I gave a bold prediction and then I had my actual realistic score of what I think is going to be. So now I feel like I have to stay to my guns.
No, just stay to your truth. Whatever feels real to you.
Listen, what's true to me is going to be tight. What's true to me is going to be tight. That bold take was more of me tapping into my homer side, and I felt disgusting doing it. But it is what it is at this point. Sometimes you got to tap into that homer spot and just show your team some love. But I think it's going to be a lot closer. The challenge and what we're all going to be watching is how disciplined this defense will be, and that in stopping the run and doing the fundamental things right, tackling. Because if we can do those things, limit the turnovers and the freaking penalties, this should be in the range that my man Bot said, but I think it's gonna be closer than that. So give me 27-24ish, 27-24, 27-23. That's what I have the Bills in that. 27-23, 27-24.
Look, give me a W for us to discuss later on this evening, and give us a W going into the bye week. That's all we can hope for. All we can hope for ourselves is that you join us post-game on the Rico and Bot post-game show. That'll be coming your way after the Bills and the Falcons conclude on Monday Night Football. In the meantime, stick around on the BF YouTube channel for Pierre's live game stream. Always a good time, and hopefully Pierre is drinking heavily tonight. Hopefully the Bills offense gets it back on track. But that's going to do it for us here on the pregame. Enjoy the Monday Night Showdown, folks, and we look forward to talking with you after the game. In the meantime, Rico, Bot, much love. Go Bills. Peace.
Go Bills, baby.